The NCAA could be in serious trouble right now, and most of it is due to their own causing. This is not something that's necessarily new. It's something that's been forewarned and something that many people predicted would eventually happen with how crazy college football has been over the last couple of years. But Ross Dellinger tweeted that among legal suits, threats of NCAA succession, there's discord over Project D1 and congressional delays. Charlie Baker and Power 5 commissioners are meeting this week in D.C. to chart a course forward. Will they go together or apart? Followed that up by saying the exit discord among many in the Power 5, especially the Power 2, that's the SEC and the Big 10, on Baker's Project D1 is such discord rooted in a desire by some to split from the NCAA and create their own model with revenue sharing. He later says everything is on the table, and that includes a breakaway. Now, there's a lot of smoke rising that the Power 2, the Big 10, and the SEC are about to unite and do something radical that will forever change college football. Now, the sport has already changed so much over the last couple of years with NIL and the transfer portal, basically open market free agency and, recruiting, pay for play, inducements and everything else, which is fine, right? Like, this is mini NFL at this point, no big deal. But the sport has changed so much over the last couple of years. And some people are going to comment and say, I hate it. It's not the game it used to be. Some people love it. It doesn't, wherever you fall, that's not necessarily the point of this video to have an argument about what this has done to the sport. But how the sport might change in the very near future could shatter and drastically outdo anything that you've seen over the last couple of years. Now, recently, NCAA President Charlie Baker unveiled a proposal to modernize the college athletics model in an unprecedented way. He recommended direct pay to athletes in a new FBS subdivision for high-revenue schools. Now, this was caught with mixed reactions, as you can imagine. Many support the progressive approach. Power 5 schools had some concerns. Power 2, especially the Big 10 and the SEC, are pushing back. And they're critical of the plan and its lack of regulation. Just like the NCAA opened up the Pandora's box of NIL and opened up the Pandora's box of the portal, the NCAA is very, very good at saying, let's do this, and having no real regulation around it, having no real rules around it. NIL right now is insane, and I am all for the players getting paid, and I think they should be paid, what we'll talk about here in a moment, even more directly from the schools. But we have to put regulations around things. You have to have rules around how this can work. You have to have a set of guidelines, and the NCAA refuses to do that. Deregulation and autonomy. The proposal gives more control to high-revenue schools, raising questions about the NCAA's future. How necessary are they? There's been talk of no salary caps. College stakeholders want caps on athlete compensation, unlike the current open-ended system of NIL. Now, booster collectives still remain. The proposal may not even eliminate the independent NIL collectives, which offers extra pay, which will be more of an inducement. We'll be in the same situation that we are now. Say every school out there will pay every athlete $50,000. Okay, great. That sounds good. Why would I not go to XYZ school that'll give me that $50,000 that I get everywhere and then an additional $50,000 to play for their team? NIL is not going away. Could you theoretically CBA it away? Could you sign a collective agreement saying that we will not do NIL anymore? Why would the athletes agree to that? If you've got a system right now that can pay them unlimited, uncapped earning potential, why would you go into a system where you are just going to get the same as everybody else if you are a high-level athlete? College sports is certainly at a crossroads, and this is a critical moment for the industry, facing mounting legal threats and internal dissent. Since its unveiling, it's becoming increasingly clear that Congress isn't coming to the NCAA's rescue. And if Congress cannot fix the revenue sharing or NIL, it's going to all be decided either through action of the leagues, specifically the Big 10 and the SEC will lead the way, or in court decisions. The Big 10 and the SEC are not waiting for Congress and courts to dictate things. They have already started a plan to implement revenue sharing with their players as soon as the 2024 season. Now, this is going to mean that the NCAA loses a substantial amount of power in college football, and the power to conferences are going to become incredibly strong, stronger than they already are. Should football break away from the NCAA? It's something that many have suggested and talked about being a possibility. If the big two break away, others will certainly follow later. The haves and the have-nots become even more apparent as revenue sharing would almost certainly be tied to TV revenue, which obviously the SEC and the Big Ten are king. If the NCAA could get something done, standardized across college football, it may prevent it somewhat. But like we mentioned, NIL collectives likely aren't going anywhere. Why would players ever agree to get rid of them? The NCAA has long shown its incompetence, and they don't know what to do here either. They opened Pandora's box, and it ultimately may cost them billions of dollars, to which I say, good. They've been greedy, and for so many years, they've not wanted to share their revenue with the players, with the athletes that make them the revenue. And that run may be coming to an end very soon. Let's talk about it down in the comments. What are your thoughts on the NCAA? What are your thoughts on Ross Dellinger's tweet thread? I'll link all of that so you can read it. I think it's pretty interesting, and it could, again, drastically change the sport as we know it. Let's talk about it down below. Listen, we're going to continue to cover this. This is not done. This is something that's going to happen as these meetings continue to progress. If you want more content like this, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Huge college football fan. That's why we started this channel, College Football Addiction, to kind of get takes off on college football from a national scale, things that impact the national scene. Our sport is changing. We're going to continue to cover all of it here on College Football Addiction. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.